Hey guys, welcome back to another What If here. Today we are doing part 2 of What If Female Naruto had the Phoenix contract. This is my second time trying to do the intro, as the first time I skipped straight past the female part, though currently, this is less of a what if Naruto was born female and more of a what if Naruto, I'll say, gender swapped. And at the moment it hasn't happened yet, though we're getting to the point, and hopefully you can get to the team placement, which would be after the swap. So yes, anyway, if you want to know what happened in the last part, go and watch it. Simple as that. Nah, pretty much short version ended up explaining roughly how now, Minato and Kushina had left stuff for Naruto, the Hokage had just given him his apartment slash house, so 5-year-old Naruto would have, walked in with a girl called Yugao, pretty sure that's how you say it, Yugao, or Cat, which is her Ambu name, and she'd shown down to where he lives, and he had then spotted, after kind of exploring for a bit, that there was a box on his table. He had then opened the box and had seen 3 letters. Two letters, and I think I said 1 scroll. Can't remember if I said either 1 scroll or 1 weird kunai. Right, yes. Anyway, so when he had read his dad's one first, and his dad told him that obviously he was the 4th Kage. He was the 4th Kage's son, and that he houses the QB inside. His mum, and his dad's the QB came to destroy the village, so Kushina kind of told Naruto to give the QB a chance, as her and the QB, or Kurama, were best friends. And yeah, so then Naruto after kind of reading all that he could from his mum's scroll, which wasn't that much, he had then decided to, if it was the Jinchuriki, he would at least give, because if the fox, Kuruma, if she was friends to his mum, then he would at least give her a chance. And yeah, and when Naruto had meditated and had woken up inside his mountainscape, which would be the same as in canon a giant sewer, though that will change in the future. So yeah, anyway, and had followed a voice, and after had seen a girl, and after the girl confessing that, had just broken down seeing Naruto, and that's where we left off. So let's get into this part. After around 5 to 10 minutes of pure crying from Kuruma, she'd finally started to calm down, with a 5-year-old Naruto kind of doing the best to cuddle the much taller girl. Mind you, the girl was only around 5'3", 5'5", and whilst Kuruma could always change her height, she'd always preferred being slightly on the smaller side, though not too tall and not too small. And yeah, so anyway, and she kind of looked down at the boy, and had kind of just, well, thought, damn, he really does look like Minato, though. I guess after what half his Makis go through, if they sign the Phoenix contract, well, maybe he'll look more like Kushino, who knows? Although, depending on his chakras, that should depend on what one he can do. If he's got too much, he'll have to do the other one, which then has the potential of switching him to a girl. If his reserves are too big, which would then give him a kind of, well, it would be better off because he would then be able to control chakra a lot better. So then Naruto would look up at her as and go, you okay now, Kurama? And she'd look down, blink for a couple of seconds, then go, yeah. Sorry for that. It's just after kind of seeing you for the first time and that, it just, I guess it just really did just hit me, as I always thought that it was just either a dream and that I would just wake up inside of your mum and like you'd just be like a little, maybe like either, just like a baby crying in front of her wanting food or something like that. I just always thought it was kind of a dream, but seeing you here, it really has happened. And I guess it's just hard to accept losing someone, especially like for me, because I've only really ever lost two people I've cared about. Your mum being the second. It's like now to go, and who was the first one? Well, I guess my creator of some sort. To better explain that, I'll tell you a story of how I and the other 8 tailed beasts came into existence. Okay, it's not simply nodding, just thinking, yay, story time. Yeah. And he's still little, so, he does like hearing stories and, hearing how she came about, and that could lead to something else down the line anyway, so it would then go, over thousands of years ago, there was a girl that came down to the earth, and it was ravaged by war. She'd seen that and wasn't happy, so she had managed to stop the wars, the endless war, and they'd called her the goddesses. She then, from one of the people of this planet, had told her that there was this tree far away that would sprout a fruit every some odd years, and that they never really ever bothered to take it, as something bad would always happen. Her not really thinking much about it, would go see if it was real. After seeing it was real and that it had a fruit not too long ago, she had taken and eaten it. And after a while, she had gained access to what you all know now as chakra. And the beast wasn't happy, or the tree, as it then uprooted, and she had, to a degree, absorbed it. So then they had kind of nicknamed her the rabbit goddesses, though. And after a while, she then fell in love with a person of this planet, and had then bore 2 children. One of them was Hagoromo, and he had and he had purple ringed eyes, whilst his brother had white eyes just like her. Though this person would be the founder of the what clan is it again? It's not the Uchiha. No, it's not the Senju. What clan is it? Yes, it was the Hyuga clan. He was the pretty much creator of the Hyuga clan, though at the time nothing really existed, of course. But Hagoromo, once he kind of grew up, he then created ninju and had made kind of ways to control chakra in a sense. He created, techniques to bring people together, but after his mum, after learning of what he was doing, she'd gotten angry and wanted it back. She wanted the chakra and had gone mad, gone crazy, and he'd fought her for 7 days and 7 nights, and then finally he'd managed to seal her away in the moon with his brother to tell him that he would watch over her, as he had already impregnated a person on the planet which would start the Hyuga clan. And Hagoromo was then named the hero, the god of shinobi, god of all shinobi, and the sage of 6 paths. And after some time, he had found a woman that he had loved dearly, and then had 2 children, 3 children. Though the first being the first being the eldest, and a boy. He had taken after his father in the eyes, and had what you now watch, created what you now know as the Uchiha clan with the Sharingan. His next, the middle child, had really nothing besides from raw strength and a love for peace. The third, which was the youngest, and a girl, she bore the same thing, love for the people, but had taken after her father, the sage, in mind, so in intelligence, and had his powerful chakra. Though it was weakened, it was still much more powerful than the 2 brothers. She would later come on to form the Uzumaki clan. The middle child, by the way, formed the Senju. Was how to blink and go away. So I'm related to the Uchiha and Senju. Cool. As she would kind of chuckle for a bit and go, yeah, I guess you are, in a sense. Anyway, and obviously, and when he was on his deathbed, he had decided to split the 10 tails' chakra into 9, split it into 9, and had then made us with his ability creations of all things, which he had combined yin and yang, spiritual and physical chakra, to create bodies for us, for the 9-tailed beasts. And he had granted us, say, special abilities, like the 1-tail's ability to control sand, the 2-tail's ability to kind of spit blue flame, and so on. As Naruto would go, so what can you do? It's like, well, all the abilities I've just told you now, Naru, can be, say, passed on to their Jinchuriki, so like you. So there's 8 more out there like me, actually. Go. Yes, there is, though. Their treatment is varied depending on villages. Some are feared, some are proclaimed as heroes, and some are just looked at scared, and some are viewed as weapons, and some are, well, very few are like you and are picked on to, or like almost like killed or that. So yeah, and when I mean very few, I mean like you're the only one I know of that has been, has, like, their villages treated you the way you have been. And I was, before she could say she was sorry again, now to kind of stop and go, and well, he was friends with my mum, right? As she'd go, well, yeah, your mum was, well, she was a true Uzumaki in some sense. She was stubborn. She had one heck of a temper, but she was powerful. She had definitely shown the world just how powerful a kunoichi can be, though. And she would have been a brilliant mother as well. And yeah, there's, though, one thing I have to tell you before kind of carry on with telling you what your mum was, well, in your mum's letter. It's simply not okay. Well, when you was inside your mum, she had asked me something which had made me the happiest held beast alive. And I was quite surprised when she'd asked me. I thought she'd gotten a screw loose at first, but no, she really didn't. She, yeah, it's not to go, what is it? Well, I can tell you who you, well, obviously you do have godparents, like, well, some people do have godparents, some people don't, as it's more of a, like, namesake, like, your parents can tell someone, like, oh yeah, you're, like, my child's godparent, like, godfather or godmother. It's not the way, so I could technically still have a mother and father. It's like, well, kind of, but not suggested, though, to at least follow your godfathers. Not to come to it said, why? Well, your godfather is a giant pervert, and perverts aren't exactly, well, treated good or seen in a good light with, like, the female population. It's not good. Okay, then what about my godmother? Well, can't exactly go or live with her. It's like, why? Well, I guess I just say the reason why when your mother had asked me one question and it made me happy was because she'd asked me if I wanted to be your godmother, as Naru joy would just drop at that, and he'd just be stunned. She could now definitely understand why she'd whilst Kuruma had thought Kusanid had a screw loose. Like, who on earth would make who'd ever make a tailed beast that like that's their child's godparent? It kind of start Nato a bit, and he says she'd go, Nato, if you don't want me to, I won't be. I just thought she could finish it. Nato would blink back into reality and go, no, it's nothing like that. I was just surprised. Yeah, I was just surprised that was all that. I'd be happy for you to be my godmother. And yeah, though I'm not exactly happy with my godfather, because at least in some sense you've always been here, haven't you? She'd go, well, yeah, I guess so. I guess I've always helped you in some senses. Like, I'd go to it, said, why, well, remember when I told you each Jinchuriki gets a special ability, like, say, the one tail's being able to control sand, two tails able to shoot blue fire. So now I nod yes. So then, well, why don't you just kind of, well, not exactly sure, because, well, my first Jinchuriki, she never used my chakra at all. Your mum only used me as her like healer and a friend, and well, so I never exactly knew, as well. Yeah, like I'm a nine-tailed fox, but like I didn't exactly know. Like, we all had to learn our abilities. Some were more obvious than others, whilst like all my other 8 brothers and sisters had learned what their unique power was to give. I never really did. Like, because obviously, like, when they channel their normal chakra, they would obviously have the ability. But, like, with you, I don't exactly know. It's like, I know, like, say, every Jinchuriki has got, say, a healing of some sort. Though everyone has got, every Jinchuriki has, like, a healing ability that comes along with being a Jinchuriki. Handy, although your one is true healing, unlike the others. Just not to go, what do you mean? Well, when you think of healing, you'll generally say, you can say break an arm and it'll heal in a night. Though if you say were to unlock the seal, which would allow you full access to my chakra without the seal, like your seal trying to restrict access and whatnot, and that, then you'd be able to heal a broken arm in a probably second. You'd be able to, if somebody chops your hand off, you'd be able to regenerate your arm in a day or two. So I have to go, what? I could regenerate my arm? Yeah, you could. You could also lose an eye or eyes and just regrow them. So, yeah, that's one ability you have, which is, though the others, as I've said, you've got actual healing or regeneration, whereas my other 8 brothers and sisters only have what's called enhanced healing, which is, so if you've noticed, you don't have a scar on your body at all, which is, well, thanks to my healing. because it's true healing. You are pretty much regenerating that part, and so like so you don't get a scar, in other words. But the others, as I've said, I got enhanced healing, which means that their normal human healing is sped up, but they would be left with a scar of some sort. Though they wouldn't be able to, say, like regrow an arm or grow an eye or something like that. It's now to kind of not okay. What about anything else? Like, well, I'm not sure though. Your mum could sense like emotions, especially negative ones, so that could be another thing, though I'm not 100% sure. Oh, well, I guess that's handy. And anything else? Well, so Mum had, say, enhanced senses, like all ninjas do have slightly enhanced senses. Though your mum, being my Jinchoki, had more enhanced ones. Though yours are even more enhanced than your mum's due to the fact, well, I've been in you since maybe half an hour to an hour after your birth. So you're pretty much nearly his say enhanced, say maxed out when it comes to senses than anything else. Because I was say you can probably track someone, like a dog could say sniff out a person, you could sniff one out too. You can see fast moving objects with ease, though obviously the speed of a Nindo, I think around mid to high tuning is probably your max at the moment, but again, as you train, that will increase, which also obviously means you have obviously faster reaction time than somebody your age would. It's simply not okay. Now, obviously, what your mum left in the letter, which you couldn't read, it's not okay. Well, what your mum goes into next is she advises you to sign the Phoenix contract at the age of 6, and then 2 years after, so when you turn when you turn 8 years old, you will then go with the Phoenixes, which they have 2 things, and it's only 1/4 Uzumakis can do it as well, though them being slightly more rarer and having smaller chakra reserves don't tend to have the ability to even do it. So it's generally only half Uzumakis that do it. And this is a thing called, there's 2 things. One's called Awakening, and the next one is called Rebirth. They are 2 similar things. Rebirth and Awakening, or Awakening, Rebirth, both allow you, pretty much both will, say, unlock a certain amount of, a certain amount of inner gates. Just have to go, what do you mean by inner gates? Just go, there's 8 inner gates in, say, a human body. Though for an Uzumaki, they generally lack 3 of the 8, as while their bodies are being, the Uzumaki clan always being very pure, generally have, because of how their body generally can handle the much more, say, higher chakra throughput, can handle 3 of the 8 inner gates missing entirely. Though for half Uzumaki's, the body can't, so then, like, by the time, say, an Uzumaki, half Uzumaki, like yourself, turns 8, they will be taken to the Phoenix Realm if they have the Phoenix contract. If they don't, then they won't, but if they do, then they will. And, as I said, if they will, then one of two things will happen. The Phoenix will check their chakra reserves and decide if it's from, I think it's like mid-ganning to like mid-tuning, then they'll do awakening. And that is simply the hair will turn red and they will have 1, 2, 3 of the 8 inner gates opened, which will allow, and I mean permanently open, so you'll get much more, obviously, chakra, and it will also, obviously reinforce their chakra network, so they can handle 1, 2, 3 of the gates opening and pretty much disappearing. It's not kind of not okay. And then, or there is rebirth. This is where me and your mum don't exactly know much, because it's very rare, though. What they did tell us, which is that if you have, say, around mid to high, if you have low Kage level, you'll have all, they will say you'll survive and probably have all 8 inner gates open, which will mean you will have, say, full access to your chakra. And what I mean is, like, obviously having 8 inner gates means that each gate blocks a certain amount, so your general control of your, say, max reserves that you have access to is around 18 to 20% of your total reserves you can use. So yeah, and obviously Uzumakis generally have 40 to 50% of their reserves access to them, though having all 8 in the gates gotten rid of, you have full unadulterated 100% access to your chakra, which is more dangerous because if you hit 0, you'll die. Though you won't in your case, as well, you have Misa inside of you, so your body or the seal would simply, I think, activate and just pull on my chakra, which would then, say, stabilize you and you'll survive, though it'd probably be maybe a good week or 2 to heal. Well, not to heal, but to pretty much repopulate your reserves, to refill your reserves, as yours are quite large. So yeah, anyway, as I was saying, though, they said if you have high Kage level, so high S rank level chakra reserves, then you are looking at being turned into a gal, which is handy. As Naruto go, what do you mean handy? How is being turned from a boy to a gal a good thing? Well, the bigger your reserves would get, which obviously having the 8 in the gates, having 3 of the 8 in the gates open will destroy your chakra reserves. Any jutsu you learn will be useless, except for one thing, which would be the, say, shadow clone, because the more chakra you throw at it, the more clones you make. Quite simple as that. And which is handy, kind of. Anyway, and yeah. As I was saying, say those two views, it's not okay. One had all 8 gates open, and it was male. The other one, the same thing, all 8 in the gates open, but this time was female. and you have to learn water walking. The male, you may say do water walking in a month now, due to how large the reserves would be. So Naruto would kind of nod okay. The female you though could take maybe a week to even a couple of days to learn water walking again, as Naruto would just start her rate. So being a girl is give me better chakra control. It's like, well, kind of, it will give, well, yeah, you'll have a better connection to your chakra, which does relate you to having better chakra control. And also for Uzumakis, well, especially Uzumaki girls, they generally have a much bigger reserve as well having better control, though. Also, being an Uzumaki female gives them even more control over their chakra, unlike a normal female. Because, Uzumakis have a greater connection to chakra and their chakra. So, say, I think they're a normal human's around 20 to 30% connected with their chakra, whereas Uzumakis are generally around the 50%. Females are around 50 to 60% connected to their chakra, and that connection just means how, the higher that connection is, the better off you can controlling your chakra. Though obviously it can be increased by doing chakra control exercises. As Naruto would simply nod and go, well, what's my reserves currently? It's like, well, should think for a minute, as she would then kind of pulse her chakra through Naruto to gauge his reserves. I should still be thinking, she'd go, well, I'd say you're at around low to mid tuning. Mind you, though, you was born with, even your mum admitted when you was born, you had high gaining reserves, which even for an Uzumaki is high. Because, Uzumakis, when they're born, generally have low to mid gaining, not high. Your mum you and your mum pretty much shared the same high gaining reserves, so you was already tipping the reserves in the favour of low tuning, so you really had high reserves. Though obviously you've been drawing on this has been drawing on my chakra a little bit to increase the reserves, and so you're around, I'd say if you didn't have me, you'd probably be around low tuning. Having me, you're at around mid tuning, though when you start using your chakra, say doing exercises and that, you would start to grow your reserves a lot more, and you'll quickly notice truly kind of how big they are or how fast they can develop. It's not a kind of not, well, okay then, what am I gonna do for chakra control? Well, but you gotta start passing that kind of escorted you to your house. Oh, you mean you go? Well, cat. It's if you ask her to help you in your, say, chakra control training, then, you'll obviously get better, and plus, for most people, they will do, obviously being a Jinchuriki, they would, and being mine, they would be quite fearful that you're getting stronger, though. If you're having someone there watching you that even the Hokage knows, then it will, say, settle. Obviously, they'd still not be happy, but they'd be kind of slightly more understandable that the Hokage is putting you under training. Naruto would kind of nod, so I shouldn't tell Chi about you. It's like, should go, no, you shouldn't, well, no, obviously you can, because your mother's mentioned me, and you will more or less know that she's at least mentioned me, kind of. So tell him when you meet him that you're friends with me, and that I'm not your godmother. He doesn't need to know that. Nobody really needs to know that. And it's now to kind of simply nod, and, well, 3 years would go by. 3 years would go by since then. I was kind of going to do more detail, but it'd take longer. So yeah, sorry. Anyway, it didn't really add up too much anyway. So yeah, 3 years would go by as we see a blonde boy surrounded by 3 people. The first being the Hokage. The second being a purple-haired girl known as Yu-Gi-Oh! Or, well, after the first 2 months of training, once there've been, 3 back 3 years to a 5-year-old Naruto had, after the night of conversation with the fox and, his godmother and Naruto going to sleep, woken up, he'd called Kat and asked if she could train Naruto. She was unsure of, though Naruto had clarified in chakra, which she'd then, I'd have to ask Hokage first, as Naruto would go, could you take me as well, so I would know where it is? As she would kind of go, yeah, that would kind of be a good thing, you know where he is. And so she would take Naruto along, and he'd granted it, and Naruto, Kuma had also kind of told Naruto then as well to ask him, could he kind of let you, say, undergo training by me in my chakra? As he would then ask the Hokage, and the Hokage would think for a minute and go, you'd have to be a bit outside the village so people don't know, and I'll have to have someone with you there. As he would think about Tenzo, as he would be having, he would be one of Orochimaru's parents, though, the only one that kind of survived, as he had gotten wood release. As he would kind of look at Naruto and kind of go, as long as you have, as he would look at Kat and go, you know the person you need to bring her, she'd know, because he had kind of done the hands-ons to tell her what person he was on about. Then a couple of seconds later, Tonzo? Damn it, I think that's his name. Whatever. He had kind of come here with Kat. He had obviously asked why he was being called, and the Hokage told him that he was to watch Naruto when he would be training in the Fox's chakra, as he could suppress it if Naruto were to lose control of it, which Kuruma had kind of told Naruto to not argue back, as it was kind of a good thing that, because even though I would let you obviously control my chakra and draw my chakra, obviously it comes with enhanced senses and even will enhance your emotional state. So and obviously because my chakra is also kind of on the evil side, it will obviously well at you mentally and bring out all the hatred in your heart, and if you drown in it, you'll lose control, and I won't be in control because you won't be fully me, and so it'd just be you rampaging, use my chakra pretty much. And just have to kind of gulp at that and understood what the Okage was saying. Anyway, so that's why ton whatever the guys, and as I was saying, like a month or two after that, Kat and Naruto had started calling each other brother and sister. As they'd gotten quite close to one another with obviously that kind of relationship of a brother and sister. And whilst he looked at the Okage as like a grandfather, he wouldn't tell him everything. He still kept some secrets. Because obviously everyone's got their own secrets that all keep, that they're not going to tell no one. And he had his. Though obviously the fox and him being together, Naruto's, she had told Naruto all of kind of her possible secrets, and she had already known Naruto, so yeah, midpoint there. So yeah, anyway, they would look at Naruto and go, well then, Naruto, it seems like obviously you'd be going in around in maybe like in a couple of minutes, isn't that? Okay. Yeah, I will miss you guys. As it go, you'll be back in no time, Naruto. Kat would say. She'd go, yeah. Well, yeah, Naruto. Don't forget, you'll be back in no time. Don't worry. And yeah, as they would keep on talking for a bit more, as then a phoenix would poof. As it'd go, look at Naruto, go, well, Naruto, you ready? As Naruto would nod and go, well, good. Though before we decide on what one you be having, either you be going through awakening or rebirth, we'll have to check your chakra reserves first. As Naruto would nod, as he'd look, well, I guess I'll see you soon then. As they would all kind of nod and go and wish Naruto his best, as they would, and see then he'd vanish, as they would all kind of disperse then, as obviously Naruto had pretty much kept everything in a single scroll. I think that was important to him, which he'd given to Kat to keep, as obviously she had known that the house Naruto was kind of living in was temporary, to see what would happen after his, either the awakening or rebirth. So yeah, and Naruto obviously would arrive in the Phoenix home, in the Phoenix summoning world, as Naruto had seen the boss a couple of times, as the boss would go, Naruto, it's time, isn't it? As Naruto go, yeah, and I guess I'm kind of excited. I don't really know. It would just be nice to be able to use, I guess, my clan's Geki Genkai, whatever it is. Well, yeah, my clan's Geki Genkai is nod. Okay, well, then let's do your chakra reserve test to see what you'll be doing. What one you'll be going. Well, yeah, what one. So that would nod, and a couple of seconds a couple minutes later and go, wow, Naruto, it seems like we'll be doing rebirth, which is more dangerous as, well, I say more dangerous, but really nobody's died since we've kind of put this rule in, which the rules in, and we gave the Hafus, well, we practically started doing this. As Naruto kind of now a bit scared. It's like, I said, you don't need to worry though. Yeah, I think we'll be fine. And as Naruto would kind of nod and kind of would just think, I wouldn't think that, like, well, I know doing the tree and water walking would boost his chakra reserves a bit, and starting control over my chakra would boost his, but I didn't think it would boost it to low double S rank ninja. High S rank to low double S rank. It's like, well, I guess once he awakens once he goes through the rebirth, we'll find out just how large his chakra reserves truly are. As it's kind of getting late now too, you can go to sleep, and then in the morning we'll do the rebirth, go through the process of rebirth, and that though I'll be telling you, say tomorrow, you won't exactly expect anything, though we'll just explain it to you what will be happening to you, though you'll be asleep before anything happens. As not to nod and go, well, okay then, as he'd then be taken by his mum's phoenix summon, or personal phoenix summon, as Nato's got two personal phoenix summons. The first one he'd got when he'd first signed the contract and summoned Phoenix, and the second one is when he came to the summoning world for the first time, and his mum's Phoenix, my personal Phoenix summon was there to see him, and was quite surprised on how closely he looked to Minato. And it kind of asked Naruto if she could be Naruto's second personal summon, which Naruto had said, sure, I've got no problem with it. And it was kind of thankful, as it could now also, besides Ron Kuruma, could also now look, help Naruto in his time of need. Yeah. And he'd also gotten a personal boss summon, and when I mean boss, I don't mean yes, it can mean the actual boss of the summoning world / leader, or suddenly boss generally the big giant, say, frogs of Mount Miyaboku, or in this case it would be equivalent to a 10, say a 3 to 5 story building phoenix. Yeah, they can be quite tall. Phoenixes can. So yeah. Yeah. Anyway, so after the next day, Naruto had they'd kind of dragged Naruto to the bath where they would wash him personally to properly clean him, because anything that could say go any pieces of dust or that could very much affect it very negatively and could even kill him. So not great. Anyway, as his two personal phoenix summons would then speak up to start explaining it. So go well, Nato. So after you've been washed here, we'll immediately go over to where we would start the rebirth ritual. Is that to go well? I'm a bit hungry though. It's like, well, good, because it's kind of good that you can't exactly eat, though you won't have to worry. It's not a kind of nod though, not really understanding. As it go well, once you're there, we'll ask you to kind of go up in, like, say, sit down in the fetal position, not lying on the floor, just say sitting upright in the fetal position. Then we'll activate a jutsu which will put you to sleep, and then we'll activate the rebirth jutsu, which will then, it will then create a pretty much shell around you, an egg, pretty much. And then the first thing the egg will do will remove any seals you have on you and put it on the egg. So any chakra seals or anything like that, and any seals in general will be put on the egg, the kind of outside of the egg, to just keep safe. And then after that, it'll kind of like move and store your consciousness somewhere, so you'd be asleep, you won't know. It would just be like 1 minute you was in the fetal position, next minute you'd be waking up in a hospital, in a bed. So to kind of nod and go, oh, okay. And it's like, then after your consciousness is moved and has been around and that, and it's successful, then it will dissolve your body and then start reconstructing it. As I said, it's rebirth, so it's pretty much it will dissolve all your body. Then it will look at your chakra reserves, how big are they, and how many gates can open. After it is decided on the number, it will then start generating a body to handle your new found chakra reserves. And then after that, so after it's constructed a body, it will be either male or female. And depending on how much chakra reserves you've got left, if you've got, like, say 99% of your chakra reserves left, then it will turn you female. Though that's only happened once, though sadly the person had died due to lack of chakra reserves. It's like, what? It's like, it's more so natural that the person had enough chakra to survive it, though because it was pulling on a seal on the thing, but we didn't realise that the seal was the chakra seal that was linked to the egg was pretty much nearly out. So by the time it thought, oh, good person can handle becoming a girl, we didn't realise the thing was almost out, so the person had kind of died. Though it was kind of also good, as the person had been demanding stuff all this time. So yeah, I don't really know how, because that would go, if the person was bad, then I guess it was good she didn't live. Though that's kind of concerns, you don't have to worry, Naruto. If you don't have no chakra seals, right? It's not to go around, no, besides from being the Jinchoki to my godmother, No, I didn't understand. Go well. We were quite surprised when she told us that as well. Yeah, quite surprised she decided to ask the fox. Well, ask Kura-chan, like, well, if she wanted to be a godmother, and we were more surprised when she said yes. So yeah. As I said, if you've got 99 to 90% of your chakra remaining, you will turn into a girl. So if you have something like, I think, 50 to 40% of your reserves remaining, it won't bother due to possible chakra exhaustion and then possible death. Though it can also and probably might pull on the Kyuubi's chakra. Kuma's chakra. So yeah, I'm not quite sure on that part. It's not to kind of nod and go, well, I guess out of it I'll either be a boy or a girl afterwards, won't I? So I'd go, well, yeah, you'd either be a male version of Kushina or exactly like Kushina, one of the two. So I'd go, well, yeah, we'll just have to wait and see what me is. I'd go, yeah. As they'd finished washing him, as then, well, after a couple of minutes of drying him, they would then take him to the chamber and then start the ritual, as Naru had fallen asleep in the fetal position. Then the leader or boss had then went through the hands for the rebirth. Yeah, the Uzumaki rebirth. As then the egg had formed, and a year and 2 months would pass as the Phoenix, as Naruto's personal Phoenix would come and go like every month to tell the Hokage, like the rough process and that everything was still going fine. And like after 2 months, they had agreed to allow Yugao to come, and she would then start talking to the egg, which obviously had Naruto in, less Naruto and more so his consciousness in there, as it was slowly building a body. And yeah, as a year would go by, as then like Yugao, they would ask Yugao, they would tell her that she couldn't come, as they'd started to see the seal that held Kurama inside Naruto vanish, and then it would reappear, as they'd guessed that it had formed Naruto's body, and now it was trying to stabilize something about the seal, as that would be going on for another 4 months before Dag would truly, like another 4 months later, he would hatch, as there was only 3 people there. The first one being obviously the leader, which had started the ritual. The second and third being Naruto's personal summons. Kushina's personal summon when she was alive had immediately pretty much sent Kushina as like right in front of them, laying on the floor, just after being pretty much hatched, was Kushina. As the Phoenix boss would then go over and take a DNA and blood sample to first see what if it was a full Uzumaki, and then to see anything else, if he whose parents were, if he was just Kushina, or was he still was his father still Minato, kind of thing. As most That's pretty much everyone that's gone through rebirth generally only had either their mother or father, depending on which person was the Uzumaki. But well, yeah, it obviously depended. It was, yeah, just whatever. Yeah. Well, like a month, Naruto's body would spend a month in bed. That as Naruto's mind would be kind of getting used to the body, whilst Naruto was awake, kind of. He was more so just talking to Kuruma, as they were just talking backwards and forwards, and they had no sense of time. They had no idea how much time had passed. Was it a month, a year, 2 years, 10 years? They did not know. And so once, after his mind had gotten used to his body, and after he'd finally woken up, his two personal summons would look at Naruto would slowly open her eyes, and she'd look at them and go, I'm alive, it seems. As they would just, that made no just sweat drop out of that, like, not, hi, like, hello, how are you, it's just straight up, I'm alive. Yeah. And then push herself up as she'd then ask, well, can I have a mirror? Can I look at myself to see what's changed? As they would simply nod, as Naruto would look down and not really see nothing different. Sure, his skin was lighter, but that was about it. And yeah, so they'd point over to the mirror, as Naruto would then ask them, could they leave? Kind of just leave the room for a couple of minutes, as they would, nod, as then his personal sons will go, well, I will go and tell everyone that you're awakened. I'll tell your Hokage that you've awakened, and that obviously you're alive. Yeah. And it's not, as Naruto would simply nod, as Naruto would then walk over to the mirror and pretty much just pull the top off, which they just put on for some modesty. Yeah. As Naruto just kind of go wide-eyed at himself, especially Kuruma. As Kuruma would kind of mutter, Kusuna, as mean to wrong person. Naruto kind of think to herself, so I really am a guy, and I'm guessing I really look like Mom is Kusuna. I just mean, nope, two wrong people. Kuruma, yeah, going to simply go, yeah, you really do look like her. So what name are you gonna decide on? Is she'd look at her and she'd then think, well, I was thinking of honouring my mum's wish. Like, oh, you don't have to. It's like, yeah, but I kind of do want to. I know it's up to me and all, but I kind of do want to. and especially if like it meant so much to my mum, and well, even though I may have not known this Mito Uzumaki, well, you do, and well, so I could, I guess, kind of meet her if you share your memories with me. I would then kind of roughly understand, but yeah, I would have decided my name. Just go, well, as I said, it's up to you, and yeah, should be going to, and how big are my reserves? I was going to go, yeah, guess all I talking and I've forgotten to actually check the reserves. There's Naruto, Naruto kind of chuckle a bit as said Kurama would then go, let's see, and after a minute she'd go, oh my god, would be the only words she'd said, and Naruto kind of, Naruto, in that time frame, the leader had walked in, the boss summoned the leader, and the leader of the Phoenixes, and his and his second personal summon had walked in again. Both, all three of his two personal summons are both female. The leader of the Phoenixes is female. There are obviously male Phoenixes, and he does have one male Phoenix summon, which is, personal summon, which is a big one. Because he thought, at the time, Naruto thought, if I have two personal summons, why don't I have two, boss, big level summons? So that's why he's got two kind of big enough so that a person could ride on it, to say roughly, no, I don't know, it's hard to kind of say how big it is, so I guess you guys can imagine. Yeah. And anyway, Naruto, the leader would walk and go, then have you decided on your name? As she'd turn her head and go, yeah, I'm now Mito Uzumaki. As she'd go, do you know what that name means? As it goes, not really, though I know it's important to my mum, that my mum had asked me in a letter that it would mean the world to her, though she did write that obviously it was my decision to choose, though she did ask and that she would have named me Mito, and that if I do become a girl, could I choose Mito as my new name, because it meant a lot to her, and I will accept that wish, because she chose, her choices have generally led to very good outcomes for me, so yeah, I'm going to obviously accept that, and yeah, I'll now be Mito Uzumaki. As they would nod, go, then we'll tell you Hokage your chosen name, and yeah, and you also got, obviously, when you attached, we'd taken a bit of your blood and we'd collected some DNA from you, so we can kind of know, say, who your parents are, and if you are full Uzumaki, Naruto, well, no, not Naruto, damn it, Mito would nod, and she would then walk over and sit down, but as she'd sit down, Kuma would then kind of say, sorry for my shock earlier, it was because, well, you know how I told you that, like, while the Sage of Six Paths, as you call him, my father, well, he did, no matter what, he did create you, he did give birth to you in some sense of the word. As things go out, yeah, you've got half his chakra reserves. Whoa, that's big, right? So that's an understatement, Mito. That is a gigantic understatement. No one, and I mean no one, has had his reserves since he died. Well, no one on the planet has come close to his reserves except for you. You are the closest person to having his chakra reserves. They flashed back a minute ago. Once he'd found out how big her reserves were, Kuma then thought, she's the one. I thought she told me she's the one. Father, I thought first that it was my first friend, my first real kind of friend, but no, she didn't come close to chakra reserves one bit. It's this one, her child, my godchild. She's the one, she's the child of prophecy. Father, I will look after her no matter what happens, even if the village turns their back against her and tries doing something to her. I will protect her no matter what. If I have to, I will destroy the village hidden in the leaves. As long as she's alive, I do not care what I have to do to make her happy, to keep her happy. Even if it means destroying the world, I will do it. If it means her being happy, I will do it. Now back to present. They see the kind of glass, like the glazed over, violet coloured eyes, as they would then they would refocus as Mito would go, Kuma just told me my chakra reserves were half of the Sage's 6 paths. As the Phoenix boss / leader and his personal summons would just go wide-eyed at that. His personal summons, not really known how big that was, but they knew it was big. It was gigantic, as it was like that was normally on the, like, if he'd come to the, say, modern ninja era, there'd be Nomdi in existence that wouldn't know where he was at all times. His chakra reserves were truly massive. Yeah. They were really something. Yeah, and so after getting over that surprise, it'd go, well, I have a surprise for you. As she'd go, what is it? What is it? They'd go, well, calm down and you're full Uzumaki, so you can obviously you will have access to your library because you've got the seals in your hand to obviously open the door to the library, as Uzumakis were masters of Funjutsu, meaning sealing, dimensional and space-time manipulation. So like the Uzumaki library was just a dimensional storage, where the Uzumakis had pretty much created a library in there, so pretty much any Uzumaki could walk in, grab a book and walk out and learn context. And yeah, and the Uzumaki Vault was another dimension. Though also the Uzumaki had made it so no matter, say, be it from a dojutsu or a technique like the flying Raijin, they would not be able to teleport into it no matter what. So the dimensions are safe from anyone that could teleport no matter what. Even if they could teleport to another dimension, they still wouldn't be able to teleport in. So yeah, quite handy. Yeah. Anyway, just go. You're full Uzumaki, so you'll be able. You now have the Uzumaki chains, and yeah, it's not yet, and you're that was obviously in your blood test and your DNA, though. You're also kind of half human. It's like, huh? What do you mean half human? How can I be half human? When it was reconstructing your obviously, when it was reconstructing your body from your mum's DNA, we kind of guessed that during the, say, chakra flow test, you had so much chakra, and with obviously being Kuruma's Jinchuriki, you would have had, it probably wanted maybe a body where your result, you wouldn't be hampered by your chakra network, so it kind of made you half Phoenix as well as Naruto. Not Naruto, not Ruby. Mito would blink for a second and go, "What?" and shout, "What?" as yeah. And after a couple minutes of these surprise, you go out. So then what has happened? Nothing. You still continue whatever your dream was. The only thing now was that you'll be able to shapeshift into a phoenix. And as Naruto, not Naruto, Mito would kind of nod, though not exactly listening. The leader could see he wasn't exactly listening and go, I guess, you can sleep here for today, and then tomorrow we'll start your training in relearning where you were at chakra control. Then from there you can, say, get used to holding a brush again to do Funjutsu, and then obviously learn how to hold a sword and go through and going through however far you was with your stance, because obviously being male and female, there are differences you're going to notice. For one, you being more flexible, and that is me to nod. And yeah, that's where I'm going to end it, guys. Also, if you're curious on obviously what she looks like. Well, she exactly looks like Kushina, though a mini Kushina. So what you kind of see, what you see in the page, the thing at the moment. Yeah, and also the phoenix you see, or the bird with the orange, yellow, reddish feathers. The phoenix is what she will look like in a phoenix form when she learns how to shapeshift and that. But that will be coming in the next part, in part 3. So guys, if you have enjoyed this, like if you enjoy it so much and see more just like this, subscribe. I'll see you guys in the next part, or what if, depending on what I do. And hey, good bye.